purpose of California Superbike School is for me to get a lot of people to come through the school so I can experiment on them with my new ideas and to see if they work.
Okay. And after you learn something, what do you do with the next student?
Well, if I can figure something out on riding seriously, we try things, right? I've been trying things for 25 years. This is our 25th anniversary, right?
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. But I try some things and I see what kind of results I'm getting. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the initial experimenting I did on pros because why not? They're basically test monkeys to begin with, right? And I see how it works and I get the idea. And sometimes you have to massage it around a little bit, right? You don't want to go out with a street rider or somebody who's been on a track a couple of times and say, okay, this is the world champion method here. It's like, who cares? Come on, this guy's not going to be a world champion. He needs the foundation. He needs the building blocks on this, right? So I'd see something work, and then I'd try to figure out what was underneath it, what was underneath it, what was underneath it. Okay, and I'd get to what I thought was the bottom, figure out an exercise for it, a drill, and then put it in at the school. And okay, I see, I get 2,500 people a year, and I see how does it work, and I get information from our Australian school, and I get information from our British school, right? And they're doing a couple thousand guys a year too. So when I start experimenting with something like our body position stuff or even some of the visual drills that have changed over the years a little bit and gotten more focused, it's not just my own experience, right? I get more data. It's like it's great because I have a this sort of worldwide experimental. I mean, the whole thing's experimental. You realize that we're riding experimental motorcycles. We have experimental riders riding motorcycles.
You're building the database.
Yeah, I'm building a database on what you can do and what works and what doesn't work.
So after 25 years,
Yeah.
all these students coming through the school, is it still a thrill for you to watch these guys who haven't been on track before take their helmets off? And see
Yeah. Yeah, this lady over here, one of the women who's here today, she said, this is the best thing ever, right? And I go, okay. She said, well, not better than my husband, right? I went, okay, fine. if that's the only thing that you said above it, I go, I know we did our job. So yeah, absolutely. It's what all my coaches are in it for. They really they totally enjoy seeing their students progress, and it's still a thrill for me too. I mean, I don't have to be here, right? But where am I?
Right.
I'm here.
You talked a little bit about experimenting and building this database. You've really
Yeah.
innovated a couple of really interesting test bikes and practice drills. Can you tell us about a couple of them?
Well, I started off with in '86 with my panic brake bike,
Mhm.
right? And I went, okay, hey, this is simple. This is a no-brainer. I put some solid outriggers on this thing, send the guy down the road at 25, 35 miles an hour, right? Tell him to lock up the front brake, right? I used to do this when I was teaching the new riders for the AFM race club out in California, right? They gave it to me because nobody else wanted to do it, and there weren't any. They had no school, right? I said, okay, great. You guys are mine today, right? Okay. First thing I want to have you do, we chat about it a little bit and the rules and the flags and all that sort of stuff, and then I said, okay, we're going to go out in the hot pit lane here, and I want you to come down here about 50 miles an hour. I want you to lock up that front wheel. Just a moment, right? Not so you crash, just enough so that you aren't afraid of it anymore, right? And I was merciless on these guys. I would make them do it over and over again until they finally locked it up, right? And everybody felt great after that, right? Because they knew it wasn't a real race situation, right? But they felt what it felt like. So that's when I built that thing so that you could really feel it, right? And it doesn't fall over, right? It'll tip, but it won't go over. In the late 90s, then I built my lean and slide bike. So we need some arms that move so we can lean this thing over and we can teach the rider how to sit on the bike and help him with his visual skills if we get him in a dynamic situation, right? So I built that thing. And also, how do you, what do you do when you lose traction? Because you got stupid with the throttle or you had the bike leaned over too far. It doesn't just high side you, if you slide and catch. It tapers it off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not foolproof either. It can throw you off if you get the thing fully crossed up and then you chop the gas big time. So we try to bring them up a little bit at a time, and it's been worthwhile. Then I built that thing. I worked on it for about 5 years, the control trainer. And you sit out here and you walk over to turn one right here, You look at the riders coming into that thing, and the riders who can't do braking and downshifting, right? they're struggling with the turn entries, right? It's distracting to not be able to do it really clean, really quick. You know, you downshift and you let the clutch out real slow, and people think that's a great idea. Well, okay, look, how about if you just get it done, right? Bang, you're down the next gear. Bang, you're down 3 gears, right? You do it, bang, bang, bang. And then it's done, and the bike's smooth, and it doesn't have glitches in it, and doesn't have hitches in it. You don't have to be careful with the clutch. And when they have a problem with that, they have a problem with it. It's one more thing that they got to deal with going into a corner. So, okay, fine, let's remove the distraction. Okay, teach them how to do it. So I built that thing.
So the control bike, he can practice his braking and downshifting, flipping the throttle while he's really in a static situation.
Totally static, yeah. But it also teaches you how to do clutchless upshifts, and it also teaches you how to do clutchless downshifts, right? And it tells you when you made an error, and it tells you what error you made. You started the throttle too soon. Your gear change was too late. It was too early. It was right. Clutch wasn't out or whatever. So it prompts you through all the steps and stages of those 3 shifting techniques, that's just about it,
So you have one device, a motorcycle, where you cannot turn the bars at all, one that's locked in
place. Oh, the No BS bike?
The No BS bike.
Yeah. There's some guys out there, the big counter steering versus body steering thing. Okay. Yeah, I built that bike so that you could actually see. People are confused about it. You see them throwing their body at the thing as they enter a corner. Well, you don't see Valentino Rossi throwing his body at anything. He's down on the bike. He pushes on the bar. The thing goes over, right? He goes through the corner. So there's no motion. There's no, it's they're there, right? So people get confused on that all the time. So we get the top bars that don't move. Right, and you say, okay, good. So move your body around. Go down there, put it in second gear, go 25, 30 miles an hour. Go ahead, try to steer the thing, right? Nothing happens. They go, oh, okay, got it. If you push on the bar, the bike goes. If you don't push on the bar, the bike, it'll wobble off into a ditch for sure,
Right.
But it's not steering.
I see all these beautiful bikes lined up in a row, and all the guys wearing these leathers. This relationship been good for the California Superbike School and Kawasaki, or the Roland Dunlop tires? Those relationships been good?
Yeah, we've had both those guys for 25 years, Dunlop and Kawasaki, and it's been nice. Well, when we started, the best middleweight bike was the KZ550, right? It was the cat's pajamas, man. It was so cool. Man, it went 125 miles an hour, right? And it was single disc, good handling bike, had great power for then. And we started off on those. It was a great learning bike, right? Absolutely great. And then the 600 class evolved from there. That was the first really, really good 600, middleweight bike. And now we got these new ZX6Rs, right? And it couldn't be better. You get on the motorcycle, if you're a pretty decent rider, you ride a couple laps at a track like this, you forget the bike is there. You're just doing what you're doing, and the bike is saying, yeah, I'll do that. No worries, no problem.
Sure. I think it must be a great chance for these students to come through and get introduced to, not only the motorcycles, but the tires and some of the other things, to let them understand, and get that experience, get introduced.